The presidential runoff began in Costa Rica. Jose Maria Figueres and Rodrigo Chavez compete in front of 3.5 million voters. Local media in Ecuador reported that at least 8 people died and other 10 resulted injured in Cuenca in a new incident of prison violence. Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi urged for the unity of Muslim countries in the framework of the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan. Hi, this is From the South. I am your news anchor, Leo Martin. From the TeleSUR studios in Havana, we begin with the news. The presidential runoff began in Costa Rica. Jose Maria Figueres and Rodrigo Chavez compete in front of 3.5 million voters who will decide the fate of the country. The polling centers opened their doors at 6 o'clock in the morning local time to welcome the citizenship, which is voting on Sunday during the electoral process. According to the Supreme Court of Elections, all the voting centers abroad are also open except for the one in Shanghai due to the confinement because of the COVID-19 pandemic that China is going through, and the one in Moscow due to the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Now, likewise, it confirmed the normality of the opening of poll stations and denounced that a message sent to the voters claiming the alleged illegality of the voting centers was false. The presidential candidate for the National Liberation Party, Jose Maria Figueres, addressed the press from the Lomas de Ayarco school, where his wife, Cynthia Berrocal, voted and made a call to the population not to fail to vote on this day.
It is a great opportunity that we Costa Ricans have today, not only to celebrate this democracy by coming to vote early in the morning, but also to project ourselves to the rest of the world. I have received many calls from friends, from international friends, who are reporting in newspapers in the media that today we have elections in Costa Rica. I would like us to take advantage of this opportunity so that all people in the world who are going to see us, they will say, what a wonderful country. I want to go as a tourist, or I want to invest in Costa Rica, or I want to visit that country, because all this is going to generate work, economic activity, and recovery, which is what we need.
Now, Costa Rica's Sunday election day is going smoothly for its citizens residing abroad. The first polling station to open was in Canberra, the capital of Australia, at 9 a.m. local time, and it has already completed the process. Costa Rica's embassy in Seoul, the capital of South Korea, after certifying the vote, citizen Nancy Hall-Loria carried on and reported absolute normalcy. The Electoral Tribunal, in communication with all polling stations abroad, confirmed everything is running smoothly at polling stations in Japan, China, Singapore, and Indonesia. This April 3rd is the second round of elections for 3 million Costa Ricans who are choosing a new president and 2 new vice presidents. The 3.5 millions of Costa Ricans eligible to vote can decide between candidates Jose Maria Figueres of the National Liberation Party and Rodrigo Chavez of Social Democratic Progress for the presidency of the country on Sunday.
Round marked by split votes and failure to achieve a majority, Costa Ricans once again go to the ballot box, this time to choose between 2 social democratic forces that closely follow the traditional pattern, which eventually led to the current downshift in electoral expectations. While neighboring countries like El Salvador face mass crime sprees, and in Honduras, Xiomara Castro's new government managed to topple a corrupt administration and just finished dealing successfully with a political crisis, not to mention the region's constant migratory issues, Costa Rica seems to enjoy a more prosperous situation. However, key issues like a need for serious reforms in education, healthcare, social spending, the latest crisis that has affected the job market and caused inflation and poverty to rise, as well as state support to the people, are among the problems the winner will have to face if he means to truly improve the quality of life of his people.
Costa Ricans will cast their votes on Sunday to elect the next president of the nation, as there's not much clarity on who the potential winner will be.
The gap between Social Democratic Progress Party candidate Rodrigo Chavez and National Liberation Party candidate Jose Maria Figueres was not enough to decide a leader in the first round, since none reached the needed minimum of 40% in the first leg of the process. Figueres came out on top with 27%, whereas Chavez gathered 16%. However, the landscape shifts because since then, both runner-ups have been busy creating alliances. Analysts say the undecided voters will be the ones tipping the scales in this new turnout. Figueres, whose father acted as head of state and served office from 1994 to 1998, proposes to use his legacy to boost Costa Rican social democracy by reducing poverty and unemployment in an attempt to take back the fragmented citizenship's vote and promote confidence in the country's institutions. Chavez, a former official for the World Bank, set his agenda with a review and reforms and the public budget, an increase in green energy investments, control and spending, and a minimum universal retirement pay.
The president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, asked to transfer more detainees to prisons in order to relieve the occupation of small cells in police stations. The president required to keep the small cells empty to fill them up again, demanding to the penitentiary authorities a dynamic flow between the small and large detention centers. The orders of the head of state have been received and answered by his director of penitentiary centers, Osiris Luna, who hours before confirmed that until Saturday, 2,816 detainees had been transferred to the Izalco penitentiary under the state of exception. The executive has pointed out that the detainees only receive 2 meals and sleep on the floor. In the last hours, human rights groups reported that they are also subject to cruel and degrading treatment by the security forces. Precisely, a tweet shared by the prison authorities themselves generated a great deal of concern among human rights organizations. In the account that they posted the video that we show up next, we recommend caution due to the severity of the images. The video was deleted a few hours later.
We are in charge, boss. We are in charge, boss. We are in charge. We will do whatever you tell us to. Right. And we have done to put population out there, right? And now you're here? We will go along with whatever you say.
Colombian authorities confirmed the murder of peace signatory Edwin Andres Sanchez in the department of Guaviare. The incident occurred on Saturday, April 2nd at 7:45 p.m. local time. The victim was walking in the center of the municipality of La Libertad with another colleague when they were intercepted by 2 men on a motorcycle with their faces covered by helmets. The aggressors shot Sanchez 6 times while his colleague was unharmed. The peace signatory was a victim of an attack in 2020 when he received a bullet in the leg and another in the arm. We're going to take a short break now. Please join us again after this. Hi, and welcome back to From the South. Local media in Ecuador reported that at least 8 people died and 10 others resulted injured in Cuenca in a new incident of prison violence. The incident occurred during the early hours of Sunday morning in prison number 1 in the city of Cuenca in the center south of Ecuador. So far, the authorities have not yet revealed the exact number of fatalities, but are investigating whether it was a riot or an escape attempt. Residents of the surrounding areas indicated that they heard many shots being fired. The central government has described the situation as a disturbance of public order and said that it will fight corruption in the country's prison systems. Russian government authorities expressed their hope that Moscow and Kyiv will manage to sign an agreement as a result of the arduous efforts being made in terms of Russian-Ukrainian negotiations. The Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov considered that in case such an agreement is reached, it would be an important step towards normalization of the situation. Peskov also stressed that there are always ways out of any confrontation and difficult situation, and assured that he was convinced that the objectives of the Russian military operation would be fully achieved. He also recalled that Russian President Vladimir Putin has never refused a meeting with his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky. However, Peskov pointed out that a specific document should be drafted in order for it to take place. Russian President Vladimir Putin instructed officials at the Russian National Defense Management Center to help evacuate foreigners held in Mariupol by Ukrainian nationalists. The decision by the Russian president is in response to a request made by his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Russian Central Commander Mikhail Misintsev said that foreign nationals are still being held by Ukrainian nationalist forces, and Kiev has not been able to control the subversion. The Russian commander said they will guarantee compliance with the ceasefire along the entire humanitarian corridor, but they demanded from the Red Cross International Committee and from United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees to make Ukraine to offer clear guarantees that will support the evacuation process scheduled for Sunday. Now, from Mariupol City in Ukraine, we have a direct relief from TeleSUR Special Envoy Alejandro Kirk. He is reporting live from residential areas of the city while describing the current and critical situation of the population, as well as the destruction of the infrastructure on the site.
Entering Mariupol, you can see the sheer destruction that can be seen all over the place. Buildings, commercial centers. We can hear now, maybe the microphone is getting the noise, the roars of the cannons shooting all over the place. We stand here at the residential center. Behind me there is a crater that was caused by a bomb on March 10th, according to residents. Some of them blame the Russian forces. The Russian Ministry of Defense says that these buildings and the schools and civilian installations that are here were used by the Ukrainian forces and the neo-Nazi group Azov as human shields to defend themselves against the Russian offensive. It's hard to explain or to describe what's happening here. People are cooking outside their buildings. There is no water, no electricity, no basic services, and about half of the population, according to estimates of this city, has been evacuated through human corridors. Even today, human corridors has been opened, and the Russian authorities are waiting for cooperation from the Ukrainian side to have the foreigners living in this city go to safety.
A delegation from the Arab League will travel Monday to Europe to talk separately with foreign affairs chiefs of Russia and Ukraine as part of the effort seeking a diplomatic solution to the conflict in the Donbass region. A communique of the Pan-Arabic Organization detailed the group will consist on representatives of Egypt, Jordan, Algeria, Iraq, Sudan, and the United Arab Emirates. According to the program, the committee will arrive in Moscow on Monday, where Russian top diplomat Sergei Lavrov will host them, after which the delegation will travel to Warsaw, Poland, to meet the Ukrainian Minister of Foreign Affairs Dmitry Kuleba. In light of this, the Secretary General of the Arab League, Ahmed Abu Ghait, recently expressed his concern over the economic and political repercussions the Donbass conflict entails in a regional and global perspective. In Serbia, presidential and parliamentary elections are running smoothly despite some incidents. There is a registered 20.52% turnout during the first 5 hours of voting. The Electoral Commission, however, reports of at least 2 incidents, one in Belgrade against an opposition politician, and another incident in the central city of Kazakh involving a deputy of a ruling party. This year's close to 6.5 million registered voters will be choosing the new head of state out of 8 candidates and 250 parliament deputies out of candidates from 19 parties and coalitions. In Hungary, the legislative election process continues to advance, the day in which nearly 8.2 million citizens choose whether or not Viktor Orban will continue to hold the office of Prime Minister after 12 years in power and after winning 4 elections since 1989. This day began in the early hours of the morning with the opening of more than 10,000 polling stations. Each voter will be able to cast 3 ballots. The first one corresponds to one of the 106 constituencies of the country, the second one to the closed list of the parties with which another 63 deputies of the unicameral parliament will be elected, and the third one is for the referendum on a controversial law considered homophobic and discriminatory. This is the first time on a national scale that 6 opposition parties have united to try to oust Orban from power by presenting a single candidate, Peter Markizaj. Protests escalate in France against the extreme right in the country. The protest against the far right takes place in Paris a week before the presidential elections. Next Sunday, the citizens will decide with their vote whether to renew the mandate of President Emmanuel Macron or to give that responsibility to another candidate. Despite this mobilization, opinion polls indicate that the standard bearer of the extreme right, Marine Le Pen, has considerably reduced Macron's lead in terms of voting intention. We have more news coming up after a final short break. Please stay with us. Hi and welcome back. Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi urged for the unity of Muslim countries in the framework of the start of the holy month of Ramadan. The president sent separate messages to the leaders of Muslim countries extending his congratulations on the start of the holy month of Ramadan, urging for effective measures to forge unity and integrity among Muslim nations. He said that such a goal could be achieved with the blessings of the Ramadan, which is marked by mercy and forgiveness, and through the joint efforts of Islamic leaders and intellectuals, while emphasizing the growing cohesion and solidarity among Muslim nations. Raisi also expressed his hopes for no more oppression and injustice in the world, and in Palestine in particular, giving way to peace and security. In Iran, officials say they are close to reaching an agreement to save the 2015 deal between Tehran and the major powers on the Iranian nuclear program. During a telephone conversation with United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, Iran's Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdollahian said Tehran's proposals on pending issues have been transmitted to the U.S. side through the European Union negotiator, and for the moment they are waiting for a response. On his behalf, Guterres stressed the importance of the negotiations taking place in Vienna and expressed his hopes that the two sides can reach an agreement as soon as possible. The 2015 agreement, signed by Iran on the one hand and Germany, China, the United States, France, the United Kingdom, and Russia on the other, established strict limits on Tehran's nuclear program so that it would not develop an atomic weapon in exchange for lifting economic sanctions. And focusing on that country, Iran has reached an oil production capacity of 3.8 million barrels per day, which is the same as what they had before the economic sanctions imposed by Washington in 2018. Iran's oil minister Javad Aouji said this has been possible thanks to effective measures taken in onshore and offshore oil fields, the setup of new drilling sites, and by retrofitting and modernizing facilities, among other decisions. The minister said that with the joint effort of all the people involved in oil extraction, they will be able to increase exports of oil, gas condensate, petrochemicals, and other crude oil products. The Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, decided a few moments ago to dismiss the parliament after rejecting a motion to censor against him, claiming that it was a conspiracy promoted by the United States. Moments earlier, the Vice President of the National Assembly of Pakistan, Qasim Jansuri, dismissed a motion of censorship presented against the Prime Minister as he declared it unconstitutional. Upon learning the news, the Pakistani Prime Minister proposed to immediately hold an election within 90 days. During the parliamentary session, the Justice Minister claimed to have proof that the no-confidence motion was a foreign conspiracy and recalled Article 5 of the Constitution on loyalty to the state as duty. Immediately, Khan addressed the nation through the media to report on the situation and his decision. The leader of the Taliban, Ibatullah Junzadeh, banned the use of several narcotics and alcohol in Afghanistan, as well as the cultivation of poppy used for the production of opium. The spokesman of the Taliban and Vice Minister of Information in the Western Asian nation explained that those who fail to comply with the measure adopted by the leader of the ruling movement will be processed and sanctioned by the country's judicial institutions. The decree forbidding the growing of the poppy flower also prohibits the sale, distribution, consumption, and production of drugs such as heroin, liquor, marijuana, and even a number of pain-relieving substances in the format of pills. According to information from the United Nations organization, the harvest of the poppy plant in the Afghan region increased by 8% in 2021, which translates to 320 tons of pure heroin. North Korea expressed its dissatisfaction with the position taken by its southern neighbor regarding tensions in the peninsula. South Korea's defense minister Soo-book reportedly said Friday that the South Korean army has enough missiles capable of hitting any target in North Korea. Kim Yo-jong, sister of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, condemned the statement, warning that inter-Korean relations have deteriorated and military tensions increased on the peninsula because of Seoul's behavior. She said the recent statement could have serious consequences, though the secretary of the Central Committee of North Korea's ruling party, Park Hyun-chung, also warned about possible retaliations in case of an attack against Pyongyang. At least one person died and 31 others resulted injured in an explosion at a nightclub located in Baku, capital of Azerbaijan. According to preliminary data from the country's Attorney General's office, most of the people injured in the incident suffered burns of several degrees and were transported to the nearest hospital. At least 35 ambulances were sent to the site. So far, it's not clearly determined how the incident was caused, but initial reports suggest that it may have been a possible gas leak. And in the United States, a shooting in the city of Sacramento, California, left at least 6 people dead and 9 injured. According to the Sacramento police, the shooting occurred early this Sunday morning under yet-to-be-determined circumstances. As they investigate, police urge citizens to avoid the streets where the shooting occurred and to be on alert for updates. According to videos shared on social media, there was an altercation of some sorts near the area where the shots were fired. With that, we've come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on the website at TeleSUR English. You can also join us on social media for all the latest news. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. For TeleSUR English, I am Dio Martin. Thanks for watching.